love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action. All right, thank you all for joining me in that. As you know, Reverend Laura can't be here, unfortunately, so there are a few pieces of this meeting that we're going to have to sort of necessarily cut, and she'll sort of find another way to share those with us in the coming days as she continues to feel better. But at this time, I think I'd just like to pass it over to Paul Barron to kind of talk us through how these meetings work, review some of the rules a little bit so we can make sure everyone who has a chance, who wants to speak, has a chance to do so. And so yeah, go ahead, Paul, whenever you're ready.
Yes, hello. The rules were printed in the packet and emailed out. We're using the same rules of order that we've used in prior years. They're meant to facilitate conversation and facilitate coming to a vote on the different issues which we'll talk about today. They include allowing anyone who's present to speak, but only members to vote. That each member shall only vote once on each issue. That everyone shall speak for 2 minutes each, and then we'll allow someone else to speak. If we do have alternating opinions on an issue, we'll try and alternate the for and against speaking. Everyone who wants to speak should get a chance to speak before any one person gets to speak a second time. And then we do have the ability for the committee chair or the person doing the nominations to speak longer than 2 minutes if they're responding to questions. And of course, as they're responding to questions, they'll get to speak more than once before everyone perhaps has had a chance to speak on before the motions in front of us. Are there any questions then about the rules? If not, we need a 2/3 vote to accept these rules for the meeting. All those in favor of these rules, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Is there any preponderance of nays from the Zoom attendees? No, okay. So our rules are adopted for the meeting. Thank you. Try and be patient as we communicate with those who are over Zoom. We may be repeating your question so that those on Zoom can hear, and if they have questions, we'll repeat them to the entire group. How many are on Zoom? 13. 13. Awesome. That is. So that's kind of, yeah. That is our next order of business then, is establishing a quorum. We had 30 people sign in present here in the sanctuary, and with 13 on Zoom. How many are members? Only 9 people on Zoom. Oh, 9 people on Zoom, okay. So we have 39 present for the meeting who are voting members.
We have 135, so we only need 27.
Perfect.
Bylaws specify 20%.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Paul. The next item that we have on the agenda is the approval of minutes from 2021. So forgive my ignorance on this, but do we need to read any of those for approval, or what's the procedure there?
The minutes were emailed out. There was one correction made. We had incorrectly marked 2 people as friends when they were actually members. Those corrections have been made to the minutes as they now stand in South Valley's records. Were there any other corrections that no one sent in, that anyone sent in? Okay.
Then to accept the minutes. Mac made the motion and a seconded by Chris. Is there any discussion about the minutes then? Seeing none, we'll vote on accepting the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Paul. The next item on the agenda is the minister's report. We're going to find another way to have Reverend Laura share that at another time. So following that, we have the the DRE report. So is Rob here to, oh, perfect, excellent. So Rob, you have the floor.
All right, well, good afternoon. Again, to all of you, it's, as I always say, it's good to be together, particularly for these occasions when we get to celebrate the life and the work of the church. And I'm delighted to bring you the report of the Religious Exploration Ministry, which you can find in its entirety in the packet that was emailed out. I just wanted to highlight a few things. I joined the staff here at South Valley as your DRE in September. And despite the challenges of the pandemic and everything that's brought with it, we've really maintained an exciting energy that has brought us through a season of some virtual programming and then back into just a wonderful response to being able to be back in person and just really seeing a lot of returning families and new visitors and just all kinds of kids here on Sunday mornings in our in-person community. As I said, we've been seeing a lot of returners, a lot of visitors, and it's been great to return to our regular RE programming just as a large group on Sunday mornings. But I would say that in order for the program to really be able to be successful, we rely a lot on volunteers for our RE programs. I feel very confident in administering the program. It's work that I've done for many, many years, but it's just not able to happen without the help of volunteers. And so if you or if you know someone who might be interested in entertaining an invitation to be a part of the Religious Exploration Ministry and what that could look like, please come talk to me or have them come talk to me and we can have a conversation about that. It is, of course, my goal to have it be a spirit-giving and life-giving experience and just not kind of elicit a quick burnout. And if we have enough folks, enough volunteers that we can have a nice rotation of volunteers going, particularly starting in the fall, that would be just wonderful. And so thank you for considering that. We have had the opportunity in the last several months to hold several large group events, special events for kids and families that I've highlighted in my report for you. We've also resumed our OWL classes, which is just so exciting. They'll be wrapping up, I think either today or next week is the last session. Next week is the last session. So that's been wonderful. And I'm going to have Brenda Thomas, our coordinator, talk a little bit more about the OWL program in a few minutes. But we're currently running a program for our high schoolers and for our 5th and 6th graders with OWL. I am just so incredibly grateful to have had a colleague like Grace Burns over this last year. And yeah, this is the first time that I've served in a position where I have had another staff person in the religious education ministry, that work that I've done, and that has just been phenomenal. And of course, Grace, as a lifelong member of this congregation, Grace brings with her a love of this church, a love of all of our kids, and just innumerable gifts as a teacher, which are so apparent and makes it so obvious that is her calling. And so while we celebrate with Grace as she enters the final part of her coursework for her degree in elementary education at Weber State University, and then moving into her student teaching in the fall, we lament that this busyness, as it often does, causes us to have to consider our priorities. And so unfortunately, Grace has had to submit her resignation from the religious exploration assistant position. But as I mentioned in happenings, don't worry, you will still see Grace around. Grace will be around just as often as she wants and would like to be, as it fits her schedule. She lives up in Ogden on campus there. But she will still be among us, and then after a time, we will look forward to having her again helping with our RE programs. But I am just so in awe of the ways in which she's able to engage our families. And so even though I know she's not here, I would just love another just like big round of love for Grace, because she's amazing. Also, we offer our deep gratitude to Sherry and Mac Lund, who have led our high school youth ministry over the last at least 15 years. It was funny when Sherry and I were talking a few weeks ago. I mean, really, we couldn't remember when it was really that you had started doing that work. As someone, for me, as someone who has made a career out of youth ministry for almost the amount of time that you have been serving the youth at this church, I'm just in awe of the ways that you have built up such an incredibly cohesive and vibrant ministry for our high schoolers. Sherry let me know several months ago that her and Mac's plan would be to step back from that role this summer as they focus on their loved ones. We will look forward to having another opportunity to really celebrate Grace and Sherry and Mac during our bridging ceremony and festivities next Sunday. And rest assured that one of my top recruiting priorities is finding our next leaders for our youth ministry. Lastly, I just want to thank all of you for your support of the Religious Exploration Program over this last year. This has been I cannot overstate how much this has been a career highlight for me. I grew up and served in the UCC in the United Church of Christ for many years, and as soon as I had been made aware of this position, and we were working on making those things fit. You all are my people, and I think I might be a Unitarian, which is exciting. But truly, this has been just such an incredible community, and I just want to be around for a long time. So thank you all for your support, and yeah, it's just been one of the great joys of my life. And so again, my full report, if you want to kind of see some of the specific things that we've been engaged in over the last year, you can find that in the packet. And so now I'd like to invite Brenda Thomas to come up and talk a little bit more about our whole lives.
Thanks, Rob. There we go. I just want to do a quick report about where we are with Al. After 2 years of not being able to offer it because of the pandemic, we finally started a cohort in end of February. I believe we were supposed to start in January. Again, it got pushed back. We will be saying thank you to our facilitators, but they have been amazing and stepped up and really made this happen. And we were able to serve 16 youth in our high school class. We actually capped it because we were worried about capacity, both of our facilitators and our room space. But that was so exciting to have so many people interested and excited about participating in L. And then we have 10 participants in our 5th through, we extended it to 7th grade. So that's been super exciting to get that going again. We did have 10 facilitators who have supported us, which is really amazing. And again, I think that is a result of not having had it for so long, that there is this energy that is people are so excited. Both South Valley, about half of our youth are from South Valley. And then we actually got some participants from HUCC, and we have 2 of our facilitators that we have teamed together with, that they have supported the program and brought in some families. And then again, we are striving to have Al be part of our community service and bringing people into our community from the broader community around us. And we have had people participating that are outside of those congregations, and that's really exciting. And for us to be able to sustain that, we will be asking for more people to get trained as facilitators and to participate with us. So if you know of someone who is, I know some people have already mentioned that they would like to, but if you know of anyone or hear of anyone, please let me or Rob know. There will be some trainings coming up soon. And again, there's this excitement. And then if we only rely on those people, then they do get burned out. And then that makes our program hard to sustain. So we're so excited to get it going and spread the word. We will be offering, so again, we did high school and the 5th, 6th this year. We plan to offer junior high and K first next year. And we hope to continue to offer every other year so that we can continue to serve all of our youth and children. And again, bring in the people around us in the community who really, kids don't get this in our high school. So it's really exciting. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Rob and Brenda. And now it's the parade of Brendas. Yeah, you have the floor.
This is volunteer appreciation time. And as we say every Sunday, this church is the community of ourselves. So I want you to throw a hand in the air if you have volunteered in any possible way this last year. You did the garden, you did hospitality, you did a committee. Let's see it. Look around. Yeah. So appreciation to all of us for creating a community. And we're going to highlight a couple of folks who have had a particular role and are leaving that role so that we get a chance to say thank you to them. First is Jürgen. Jürgen Korbanka is going off the board. We have little cacti from Cactus Tropical. Don't touch the cactus. I touched the cactus. It wasn't good. Sustainable, the sustainable plant. Jürgen brought your administrative skills, your psychology background. You were a calm presence is what I have heard on the board, and brought a lot of perspective at a time of getting through a pandemic. So thank you very much for your service. Yeah. And Elena is also leaving the board and has been the secretary of the board for most of the time she's been on it. When you join the board, you have a 3-year service. And Elena always brings joy wherever you go. You also have really made transparency with the board. Don't you guys think? Because we get those emails and it's like, it's time for the board meeting and here's the agenda items. And I maybe that has happened before, but I don't remember it. So I really appreciate knowing what you guys are up to. If there was something I cared about, I could be there. There was an invitation always there. And then you spearheaded our bylaws getting redone in 2020. Oh my gosh, what a process, right? So thank you, Elena. Mr. Ted Gurney over there is going off of endowment, has been the chair of the endowment committee, another 3-year term when you join the endowment. Long been a steward of the congregation in very many ways. Yes, amen. Yes, so thank you for, in this particular way, being a steward of what will help us continue with our endowment funds, so critical. Thank you, Ted. And my lovely Vanna is actually Shawnee, and I'm going to be Vanna in a minute. We are 2 of the 3 people on the leadership succession committee. Kristen May's the other one, and she's downstairs with the owl right now. And so I have one last person who isn't here, but just want to say, Lori Shantz with the Social Action Committee. So when we say we give half of our proceeds from the offertory to another organization, who the heck is tracking that? It's Lori Shantz. For the last 4 years, making sure that those funds every Sunday go to the right place, then they go to another community organization. And you should see the list. I think you're going to speak to the list in a minute. of all the organizations that we have partnered with. And, you know, I remember when we started to do it and there was concern, oh no, we need the money from the offering baskets, right? And I don't know if you longtime people remember, it went up. We got more generous because we were partnering. Isn't that cool of us? I love that about us. So, so Lori has made sure that has happened for the last 4 years on the Social Action Council, and she's not here today, but round of applause anyway. Thank you, Lori.
All right, next is Susan Isagary. After coming off serving on the board in 2010, Susan wanted to address a gap she saw in terms of the South Valley congregation reaching out to the wider community. So she received permission to create the Social Action Council. She has chaired that council ever since. Susan, along with Julie Vesley and Sutton Morgan, pitched the idea of the split offering to the board, and the first offering was made in January 2011. And since then, there have been over 70 different recipients. After learning about the service done by the Volunteers of America with unsheltered teens, Susan organized SVUUS volunteers to begin serving meals at the Youth Resource Center. This vital service program was begun in 2013 and continues on today. We want to recognize the value that Susan has brought to our community, helping us to walk our talk and put our principles in action. Okay, next, Kate and Bob McGillivray, right? I think I'm pronouncing that right. They're not here, but we wanted to recognize them anyway. They've been stewards of our building and grounds for a number of years now, and we've all benefited from this labor of love and sweat. From organizing spring and fall cleanups to coming so often on their own to work on the grounds, to always bringing cheerfulness to hard work, we thank you. David Norton is also not here, but we'd like to recognize him. David's creation of Excel spreadsheets and reports for finance has brought clarity to our finances that has assured good stewardship. He has served in this position for many years and has stayed a steady voice for caretaking of our finances. And finally, Lori Quigley is also not here. Yeah, okay. Lori ensured our administrator felt welcome and confident working with Bailey through the transition time. She has also steadfastly been a resource and source of wisdom and strength through innovative and difficult transitions like moving to the Breeze office system, working with the vaccination tracking efforts, writing happenings, and so many other essential tasks behind the scenes. Crucial work that she performs with love and dedication. Thank you. And we'd like to recognize Sherry and Mac Lund again for their work in the youth program. Thank you so much.
I also want to add to that list Shawnee and Jordan Roberts, who have been heading up our middle school youth program. So thank you to them.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for sharing that. Our next item is the voting for new leaders presented by the Leadership Succession and Development Team.
Yes, we'll take these one position at a time. So I think first we will start with the Leadership Succession and Development Committee's nominations for the board positions.
Yes, so as many of you know, there are 3 committees with elected positions: the board, the endowment committee, and the leadership succession committee. So we have 2 candidates for the board. The first is Cinnamon Wolf. Cinnamon Wolf joined South Valley in 2015 upon returning to Utah after completing theological studies. Since joining, Cinnamon has participated in various leadership roles and activities at South